Well, good day, fam. Pastor Jamal here, Rising Ground. So I got a couple of things to bring up. I think the two of them go together, but nonetheless, if they don't, we're going to make them. So the first thing, this is very, very pertinent to this idea and understanding of being a new creation, what it means to step into Christ. If y'all be wondering why these gloves I got on, they are copper compression gloves. I have circulation issues, and it's supposed to help. Does it help? I have no idea. Anyway, so as it comes to being a new creation and stepping into the identity of Christ that Jesus gave to us by the Father's plan, then this speaks to that, man. It speaks to it so heavily, but you got to catch it. I've heard different things talked about this. Lately, it's been a lot of radical movements. I don't know what you want to call these people, but there's a lot of legalism. There's a lot of which is not new, but it seems like we're going backwards. We are trying to get into relationship with God by way of laws or rules. And I'm talking about the old things that Jesus not did away with, but he fulfilled them. They're done. There's no need to do the things that keep being regurgitated, and we're missing what God has orchestrated. We're missing what God has pointed to. He has pointed to this in so many ways and so many degrees, but we will not catch it. So this is one of those things. So just briefly, me and my pastor we're talking today, and we were talking about, she said that the Lord had told her to just read Genesis 1 and Revelations, the end of Revelations. That's it. For however long. So she said, she kind of prayed about it, and the Lord didn't give her an answer because there's something she pointed out as far as the seventh day. The earth was created in the 6 days, and on the seventh day God rested. But when it goes from 1 to 6, then on the seventh day God rested from all that he had done. And, he kind of saw that everything was good, right? But there was no evening and there was no morning. So what marked the seventh day as being an actual day, set apart from the 1 through 6, right? Now, I'm sure some theological situation can come in here and give some type of explanation. But as it's plainly laid out, there was no evening and there was no morning. So what's the difference? So when she said, she said this is what the Lord said to her, and she said she prayed to God asking him for an answer regarding this. So when she told me, I immediately kind of felt nudged by the Spirit to kind of say this, and it was like, the seventh day is perpetual. It's a perpetual thing. So 1 through 6 fits into the seventh. God created everything. It was done. It was perfect. It was good. He rested. He took everything that he created and he placed it in the Sabbath. The Sabbath, keep it holy. Now we have missed the mark on keeping it holy. We've understood it from a man-made perspective. And we've potentially missed what God was pointing us to. When he took 1 through 6 and put it in the seventh, then that means it's a perpetual situation that we are to, or let's say it's symbolic to resting. God wants us always to trust God. God wants us always to rest in and under the shadow of the Almighty, because that's where our sustenance is. That's life. That's life and godliness. So then when we enter Christ, when we come into the New Testament and Jesus does everything Jesus does, And, at the end of it, God's like, now we put on Christ. Jesus died, he rose, he ascended, he sat down at the seat, at the right hand of the majesty of heaven, and it's done, it's finished. So there's nothing else to do but to sit in God, to rest in God. Now, when we rest in God, there are things that God will have us to get up and do. He'll have us to reach out our hand to move. He'll have us to, from our standpoint, to create. But remember, it's already finished. Everything that we create, that we can create, is already done. We just have to listen to the Spirit and allow the Spirit to unveil what God already created, through our hands. Whether it's a chair from a tree. God created the tree, and from the tree, the chair comes. That's Jake's, but it's pertinent. It's real, it's true, it's accurate, and it's visible. So when we talk about the Sabbath, the keeping it holy is literally keeping God's plan for it. With us, God's plan with us for it, however you want to spin it. This is God's plan. So when we keep the Sabbath holy, we believe what it is. We rest in it. Our identity is found in it, because when you believe something, then you do it. When you do it, then you should get a result. You should get some type of manifestation from it. And don't get scared of the terms. Just see what God is saying to you. See what God is pointing at. So I really and truly believe that is a very pivotal piece of information to grasp, to hold, to ask God to cultivate it in your heart and in your mind, so that you are able to step into the identity that Christ provided you. Because remember, it's already done. Everything that is done from the nature and the image and the authority of Christ has already been provided for. It's already done. All we have to do is learn how to surrender and be open to the process of stepping into that identity. And I'll say it again 1,000 times. The divine flow is the strategy for stepping into your Christ identity. Divine flow is allowing God's leading, God's perspective, God's everything to kind of govern every step you take, every thought you make. Ain't that a song? Anyway, that's God's plan. So when we ride the current, the wave of the divine flow, it's going to take you to the place where you thrive the most. All of us are meant to thrive in the identity that Christ provided for us. We don't have to work for it. All we have to do is allow God to position us into it by way of obedience, by way of allowing whatever current that we're riding on with God to take us there. So I pray that made sense, people. Now, what was the second thing? The second thing was, sometimes we want to, I just have to give an example. Sometimes we feel like, what can I do today to get me closer to God? What kind of music can I listen? What kind of worship can I listen to? What kind of scriptures can I read? What kind of legalistic steps can I take to get me in right position? But the truth is, when you allow God to govern your day, when you open up your day to God at first, then what you're saying to God is, I'm surrendered and open to your plan for whatever you want to have happen in me, with me, and through me today. And so the truth is, you're already there. You're already in the place of communion and connecting. Now, if the Spirit says, I want you to go ahead and get up and read Romans 8:6, you know what I mean? Then do it, because it's the obedience that prepares you for more obedience. It prepares you for the fruit of obedience, So, yeah, folks, that's all I got, man. I hope it's useful. I hope it's useful. I pray that your spirit allows God to come through the way God planned to come through, the way God planned it all.